Hello everyone, this is Voltage Development, and in this tutorial I'm going to teach you how to save your game, as in like the night in Five Nights at Freddy's, where you're in like the night, and when the nights appear, as in night 1, night 2 or something like that, then it kind of saves your game. And I will teach you how to also make the game correspond to the different nights that you're on, as in like the how active the animatronics are in the night when you're on a later night. I will teach you how to do that in another tutorial, but for now we are going to make this. So if I run the application, at the moment I've got 3 stars, so let me just delete all of these stars. Yeah, they're technically what I call stars at the moment because I don't have an actual active or image of stars. So we're going to do new game, and we've got a counter of 1, 2, 3, and now it's going to end. Okay, and now let's run the application again, and now our counter stays on 3, and then we've got 3 stars. So basically that counter is representing the value of our save file that we have stored somewhere on the computer. So if we delete it, it will go back to 0. So if we go to new game, it will go to 1. But now if we close it and then go back into it, it will stay as 1, and we've got 1 star. Let's continue, and you'll go back to this frame right here with 1, 2, come out of it, go back into the application, it will stay as 2, and we've got 2 stars. Then go back into it, go back to this frame, now 3, and then 3, and 3 stars. And now if we click this active down here, it will delete all of that. So I'm going to teach you how to do this, and what we're going to do is we are going to open up another Fusion application. So first of all, we're going to open up a brand new application. We're going to call this frame the title screen, of course, the main menu screen, and we're going to create 3 more to correspond with what we just done. So we're going to call this game 1, and then game 2, and of course game 3. So of course that's going to be like the sort of nights that we're going to be going on to, as in Five Nights at Freddy's. So let's go to the title screen, and now what we're going to do is, first of all, let's bring in an in object and place it outside, because actually if we place it inside, you're not going to be able to see it at all, because it's, even though you can see it in the editor, for some reason you're not able to see it in the actual application. I'm not actually sure why, but I'm sure there's an explanation for it. But for now, let's bring in a counter, because what this counter is going to do is going to correspond with whatever value is inside of our any save file. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to go to the event editor, and then we're going to do start of frame, and then we're going to go over to this ini and do set current file to, let's just say FNAF test. Now before we press OK, I just want to let you know that whenever we do these save files, we have to keep on setting the current file, because I will show you why. And when we set the current file for our save in the game, we have to do context sensitive. What I mean is, when we are doing this, we have to keep the cases exactly the same. So the big case of the FNAF and then the lower case of the test, we have to keep on doing that if we want to save our game, and I will show you why later. So let's just press OK. If you're not understanding at the moment, then bear with me. So now what we're going to do is, since we've set the current file to that, we're now going to set a random item value. So in here, we're going to call it random, and then set it to, I don't know, 100. Why not? So now, if we start this application, it's just going to appear like this. But if we go over to percent app data percent, and then we scroll all the way down to where it says MMF applications. If you don't know what MMF means, it means Multimedia Fusion. It's it's one of Clickteam Fusion's earlier game engines. It was basically before Clickteam Fusion. So let's go into here. Now that's the one I did with the other application that I showed you. But here we have the FNAF test. Now it says file, but easily just double click on it, and then find Notepad, and then OK. And here we have random equals 100 as we set it before. So let's go ahead and click off of that. And now let's go ahead and create a new condition and say special conditions always set this counter to any get value item, and then inside of this item name, we're simply just going to put nights, actually. Even though we haven't set it yet, we're going to put it as nights because that's what we're going to set it as soon. So, we're going to set the counter to the save file known as nights, or the item, shall I say, known as nights. And now what we're going to do is we are going to we're going to make a new game and continue like I did before. So I'm going to go over to string, and we're going to do should I do 20? Yeah, let's just do 20. And now get a new game. Not new game W. New game. Make it so that you can actually see it. There we go. And now we're gonna clone it so that, it's easier to edit and stuff. And now continue. There we go. But we're gonna make sure that we actually click on these objects. So I don't like clicking on strings, so we're gonna make an active. Place it over it. Oh, come on. Thank you. Stretch it over. Make sure that that is visible, not visible at start. And now, yeah, clone it, sure. And then put that over continue. Shrink it a little bit. And, oh yeah, it's already invisible at start. And now, just name these new game and continue game, or just continue, just so that we know what actives we're dealing with. So now what we're going to do is in the event editor, we are going to do mouse pointer, user clicks on an object, new game, and simply just either next frame or jump to that frame is basically the same thing, so you can just do next frame. And when it comes to the continue button, so mouse pointer, user clicks on an object, continue, we are going to actually add in, so add a new condition, if the counter is equal to 1, then we will allow the user to jump to game 1, and then let's just copy and paste this. And now if the counter is equal to 2, then jump to frame 2, or well, it says frame 3, but it's actually game 2, not frame 2. And now counter equals to 3, and then jump to game 3. But of course, these counters will not work just yet because we haven't got it so that the actual knights have set the value to the item knight in the save file just yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into game 1. There we go. And now, obviously, we're going to put in innies because we are not able to actually save our game without an innie, which is pretty obvious. And now bringing in a counter so that we can actually track the value inside of the innie. And now, let's put in an active. Stretch it out. Goodness sake. There we go. And let's just paint this as yellow. And then the text is going to be black. So 1. But we don't want it that size. So I'd say about maybe 48? Is that too big? Nah, that's just right. As in the 3 little bears. And now, what we're going to do is in the event editor, start a frame, set current file. Now, why do we need to do this on this frame, even though we've just done it on title? We need to set current file because if we just set the value item knight equals to 1, it's not actually going to do anything. Why is that? Because the innie doesn't know which save file it's saving the item value to. So that is why we need to set the current file, because we are giving the innie file, we're giving the innie object a sort of pathway to where we want to save our item to, which is, as I mentioned before, FNAF test. And as I said, it is case sensitive. So we have to put it as that so that the innie object can locate that file and place the value and the item inside that innie file. So, there we go. And now, we can set the value of knights equals 1. Wait, was it knights? Yes, it was knights. Okay, just making sure, because I can forget these things. So yeah, set value 1 to item knights. So now, if we do an always, set this counter to innie get value of the item. So let's put in knights. And now what we're going to do is we're going to run it. Let's click on here. So now we're on this frame right here. So now if we exit out and then go into our MMF applications and go into this file, as you can see, knights equals 1. It has successfully saved. So now, if we run the application, and if we press continue, it will go to the frame 1. But if we go to the title screen again, and if we make a random active down here, let's just call this one, I don't know, reset or something. And then if the user mouse clicks on the reset, it will delete the item knights. Now let's check this one out. So as you can see, it's now on 1. But if we click this, it'll go back to 0. Let's try and click on continue. We're not able to. But if we go into new game, it will go to frame 1, click out of it, go back into the application, go into continue, and it will go to frame 1. So that is now done. Now let's go on to frame 2. Or should I say actually game 2, because game 1 is technically frame 2. And now, let's do the exact same thing. Actually, there is one thing I forgot to add. In the game 1, I should really have an event that makes it sure that if the timer is equal to 3 or whatever, then it will jump to the next frame. So then, when the timer equals to 3 seconds, then the frame will jump to the next frame, which is game 2. And then we need to do the exact same to frame 3 or game 2. So timer equals to 3. And then next frame. And now game 3, since it's the very last frame, we don't need to jump it to the next frame. But what we can do is when it reaches to 3 seconds, we can just end the application. So simple as that. So now, have I done everything for game 1? Yep, it looks like I have. So, now it's just game 3 next. I think that is about done now. So, let's run the application. So at the moment we're on... Actually, we have not done yet, but let's just go through this at the moment to see how we are doing. So we're on the title screen, so let's click on New Game. So it's going to wait about 3 seconds. Done. Okay, so we're on the second frame. Okay, let's just get out of that before it continues on. So now, go back into it. We're now on the second counter value. Let's go to continue. It's on the second frame or third frame, and now we're on this one. So let's come out of it. And now, counter is 3. Go back to it, and here we are. So now, what we're going to do now is we're going to add in the stars. Now, how are we going to do this? First of all, let's put in active. And you know what? Yeah, we're going to make it bigger. If we can make it bigger, there we go. And now, let's just remove this and put it as yellow. And then, let's do it as we did before and put it as 1. That's just one big one. And now, let's just duplicate it. There we go. And now let's just call this star 1. And then this one, star 2. And then this one, star 3. Okay, so now how are we going to do this? Well, go to the event editor. And then start a frame. Of course, they're going to... Well, actually, no. Well, you can actually make them all invisible on start frame, but it's not really going to matter much, because what we're going to do is if this counter right here is equal to 0, then they're just going to be invisible anyway. So you don't really need to put it onto start of frame, but you can do if you want to, but you don't actually have to. But here is what we're going to do. So when the counter is equal to 1, we're going to make sure that one of them is visible. And then when the counter is equal to 2, we're going to make sure that one is also invisible. That one is also visible. And then when the counter equals to 3, we're going to make sure that the last one is visible. And then you can just fill in the rest of the invisible. So basically, when the counter is equal to 0, all of the stars are invisible. But when the counter is equal to 1, only one of them is visible and the rest is not. When it equals to 2, then 2 of them are visible, and the last one is invisible, and 3, they all appear. So, let's go check this out, shall we? So, as you can see, the 3 stars are here. So if we just get rid of this, all of the stars are gone. So we do new game. We want to frame 1. So then let's just end the application. The first star is there. So continue. Second frame. Second star is right there. Continue. Third frame is right here. And the third star is there. So that clears it up for this tutorial of how to save like FNAF. Although I might make this part 1 because part 2 is going to go into this sort of in-depth part of how to make sure that the animatronics move when the different save files are loaded. So this might be part 1, although I'm not sure yet, but thank you so much for watching, everyone. I hope this tutorial did help a lot of you, because not a lot of tutorials go through this much detail about the ini files, or I haven't watched enough tutorials about the ini files, but I hope this all helped you out. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.